Welcome, people. It is I, Kerbis136. We are here for a patch review. This came out yesterday. I just didn't have time. It was late. I just didn't have time to go over this. I'm usually much more on top of things. It was just things happened. I was out anyway. I saw it when I got home late. So, it's a small-ish patch. It's not large. This should probably be about 15 minutes, maybe 20. Honest estimate. When they're smaller, they're easier for me to estimate when I do like my hour-long patch things. So, let's see here. 7.40C. Conda can now be disassembled. So just to remind everybody, Conda comes out of Phylactery and a Soul Booster. The reason this matters is because if you were going to get a Soul Booster to an Octarine or a Bloodstone, now you can build the Conda early, disassemble, keep your Phylactery, and then build one of these items. That could definitely affect things. I don't know who would build that into the item order, but it's still interesting. I hate the item, so I'm not excited, but all the same, this is the better part. Phylactery nerfs. All attributes bonus goes from 7 to 6, which means now 1 less strength, 1 less int, 1 less agility. Big nerf. Mana regen that it gives you goes from 2.5 to 2.25. Also a nerf. So I'm glad now that when a hero actually has their Phylactery, it's less likely to give them everything that they need, which is good. Abaddon, Curse of Avernus, no longer is applied by his illusions. So when he goes a Manta build, now his illusions don't even give this. Huge nerf, because that's very strong. So I think this is going to move Abaddon a little bit out of this like safe lane role, just a little bit more, where he's just going to be really off meta. Axe nerf. This is the start of a list of off-lane nerfs. There's quite a few of them. Not all of them, but a few of them. Strength gain was decreased by 0.1. Now, when you think about that in scope, okay? Every strength, you get 20 health. 0.1 means at level 10, it's a single strength difference. That means at level 10, you are 20 health behind. At level 20, you're 40. At level 30, you're 60. So, within reason, the amount of health it's actually going to equate to is very minimal. But it also does decrease his damage slightly. It means across the whole game, at level 10, he'd lose 1 damage. At level 20, he'd lose 2 total. Level 30, he'd lose 3 total. It's minor, but it is a nice little tiny nerf. And they nerf one of his talents, which is just a numbers thing. It doesn't really matter tremendously. Batrider, his agility gain went up by 0.2. It's twice as big as that. I don't need to go into the specifics of that, which means his damage went up because Batrider is a universal hero. So, obviously that's nice for him because it affects his damage, so that's cool. Batrider doesn't get played a whole lot, so I understand. Bloodseeker, max health damage per second was decreased. And this sounds like a nerf, but actually that's the cost. It does damage to you or whoever you put it on. Now that amount of damage is less. That means if you're amplifying yourself or an ally, now it doesn't cost as bad. And there actually still is a talent that decreases it, which they did not nerf. For allies, not for you. I don't know if you count an ally, but the point remains. So that means that's even cooler because it's even less damage on top of that after the talent. So that's cool. You can use it as a debuff for someone else to try to kill them, since it would be 8 seconds. And now since it's a percentage, it's max health. It's going to end up being 0.2% times 8, 1.6% less damage overall, like not comparative damage, but just one more tick of 1.6 damage or whatever. If you think about it as the totality of it, it could matter. That could be more than you think. If someone had thousands of health, that could be a lot. 100 health, it's 16. 1,000 health, it's 160. Every 1,000, it's 160 damage over the course of that duration. It's mostly a buff, though. They buffed his talent for health, decreased the agility, though, and they decreased his range. So they nerfed a lot of talents, but they did buff his blood rage. I don't know. It's interesting. Brewmaster, I don't really totally understand. I know that his innate, when he drops below 50%, he gains stash resistance buff, and his movement speed alternates, slower or faster, right? Aghanim's Shard, I guess, does something related. Toss a drink to a teammate or drink it yourself, activating the maximum power effect of Liquid Courage, which is his thing, and granting a max HP regen. Max HP regen per second was increased. So when he throws that drink from his shard for himself or somebody else, it does more HP regen. So it's a buff. And the armor for the Earth Brawler, one of his Brewlings. No, his own thing. Yeah. The armor that he gains went up by 1 at every level. So it's just a buff to Brewmaster as a whole, which I hate to see. Broodmother. Necrotic Webs, enemy restoration reduction, which is the debuff it puts on you, was decreased at later levels tremendously. 0, 5, 10, 15. So it just means way worse at like stopping this restoration. So less of a counter to some of those healing heroes. Max charges of Spin Web went down by 1 at all levels. Incapacitating Bite, which is this mischance movement slow, no longer applies by illusions, which is a Manta nerf on Broodmother. Nerfed the extra damage talent, and the bigger one is the base attack time was nerfed on 25 talent by 0.05, which is a big deal. Your base attack time, when you talk about attack speed as a whole, base attack time is one of the most important numbers that goes into that. Your base attack time plus your attack speed plus any modifiers and stuff, it does matter. People who have better base attack times just in general attack much faster. That's why Alchemist attacks fast. His base attack time goes down when he ults, I believe. Clinks, big nerfs coming in. Skeleton big building damage penalty increased from 25 to 75. It also applies to any Burning Army skeletons. So basically, if you look at this, skeleton archers deal a percentage of Clink's damage and deal less damage to buildings. So now they do substantially less damage to buildings. Big nerf to his push. Skeleton Walk is no longer upgraded with Ag Scepter. Now Aghanim Scepter only provides Burning Army ability without increasing Skeleton Archer hits to kill by 1. Which means it no longer makes the Skeleton Archers more tankier to get it. And it doesn't increase Skeleton Walk at all. It's just about Burning Army. It's its own thing, so he separated it, which makes it weaker. His attack range talent went down, so he has to be closer. And multi-shot no longer applies to skeletons. It's just him. So he gets Searing Arrow, multi-shots, it's just him. Nerfs all around. That's going to bring Clinks really down a lot, which is necessary because he's been running over us in games recently. Darkseer got a base armor again. I swear he's gotten so much armor across a long period of time, but hey, why not? Doom's Infernal Blade is cheaper. That's really nice for him because early game he has mana problems. That's really cool. They nerfed the Jaws 25 that gives her the marksmanship. I think that's probably needed. It was probably too strong once she gets to the late game, so I think that's good. Earthshaker's Fissure is cheaper, slightly, whatever. Ember Spirit. Searing Chain's duration when it hits you went down by 0.25 at all levels, so it's just less of a debuff. And the damage per second was rescaled, so it's between its 3rd and 4th level. It means more damage most of the time, mind you. But since it lasts less time, it's still less damage overall. That's why they had to increase it, because they weren't really trying to hit the damage. They were trying to hit the disable. Grimstroke. This is a typo coming in. Base damage increased by 1. I know this because I read this. Damage at level 1 decreased. But then it actually tells you that it increased. It meant to say increased here. It just didn't do it right. So base damage increased by 1. And all the effects that happened from that. So Grimstroke a little better in lane. The cast range of Inkswell went up at earlier levels. It still ends the same. It's just easier to actually cast it in the lane. And you got a cool movement speed talent at 15 and a buff on that. That's cool. Gyro. Base attack speed went down by 10. That's actually a lot. In comparison, he got 0.2 agility gain. Now, granted, that means damage, because obviously the agility gain will give him a little bit of damage across the game. Not very much. And he'll get the attack speed back across a period of time. But it's a lot, actually. I don't think he'll ever get it. He'll never balance out, so I think he'll just have less attack speed at all times in the game, but his damage will be like a couple points of damage, and in comparison, that's a nerf. He needs the attack speed more, so that sucks for Gyro. They nerfed his talent, too. Oh, no, sorry, they buffed it. That's a buff. So I would say it's a nerf overall. Complicated, though. Cauterize lets Huskar heal himself. That's what it is. It can be activated for health cost. Sorry, it's a health cost. Dispels Huskar, and after a delay, heals him. That's what it is. The cooldown increased by 10 seconds at all levels, so he can't use it as often to heal himself. That's what it is. Jakiro lost 1 int. That affects his magic resistance, his damage, mana pool, mana regen per second. And Ice Patch duration actually got mega nerfed. It went down by 0.4 at all levels. That is a tremendous difference, mind you. That's a large difference in stun. So it really hit Ice Path hard, which is probably necessary because Jakiro still has Icebreaker anyway. So I think that's what they were trying to really do, is to make sure you couldn't just like perma-stun people, and that was needed. Largo has finally been added to Captain's Mode. His intelligence gain went up by 0.2. Largo is a strength hero, so that does not affect his damage at all. It's just for castability. He also got damage on Frog Stomp increased minorly. It was 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's a really weird number. They don't usually increase like that. 1, 3, 5, 7 more damage, and obviously it's per hit. So it hits multiple times across a period of time, every 1 second, so, you know. Amphibian's Rhapsody can now be toggled while silenced, which means that you might not be able to hit the button, but you can turn it on or off to have it ready to hit the button, because I think the silence would still stop you, to my understanding. I'm probably going to test that in a second. The radius also went up by 50. That's huge. Way big for him. So I believe, and I'll demo this right now, I believe that if you're silenced, it still won't let you play this, like, strum the bar, but it will let you, like, change it. So you're ready to strum or ready not to strum or whatever that looks like. Come on, it's just a demo.
I've got a song in my heart. Blink dagger.
Perhaps this battle will restore the conflict between good and evil.
All good. I can strum as a
Yeah, you can just change it. You still can't strum. They just let you get out of it, though. I think that's fair. I don't know how much that matters, but the increased radius is a huge deal. Legion. Duel got decreased on duration by 0.5. This is actually the second time this has happened, by the way. But I do believe that it didn't change the Ags. So Ags is still just as strong, but without Ags, Legion's duels are just shorter and shorter. Lone Druid, oh my god. Base agility increased by 2. Duration on Savage Roar for both the Bear and Low Druid went up by 0.3 at all at the early levels. Just early levels. They also buffed the slow resistance on True Form by 10%. Now return. Roots and Leashes will now interrupt returns channeling. So basically when Spirit Bear is trying to go back to Lone Druid, you can stop him with a Root and Leash. Which is a nerf to Spirit Bear. But for the most part, like, disgusting. Meepo. Mega Meepo. Poof damage factor per additional Meepo was decreased by 25%. So normally when you have multiple Meepos, it went to 50. Let's see what it says. It actually doesn't say here.
Hey, what's cooking?
It actually doesn't say like what the percentage is. I don't see where that would be. There it is. Each additional meeple in the tower when poofing increases the damage done. So they nerfed it by 25 whole percent. So that mega poof that he would do isn't as workable. They also nerfed his poof damage talent in the ransack health steal as well, making meeple just a little bit more reasonable, which I love. Late game Jingu does more damage, which obviously means more lifesteal because it's doing more damage, i.e. more lifesteal. Another thing on the talent, who cares? Treants do a little bit more damage at the end of the game. It's 0, 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's whatever for natures. Pango might be playable again. Base strength increased by 1, and he is agility. Sorry, is universal. I mean, it doesn't. I don't think it increases the damage at the beginning, but it will eventually. At some point, he'll have 1 more damage. Some point, he'll have the same. It'll vary depending on his exact stats. So random item and ability effects of enemies near Pango have a reduced chance to affect him. What this means is like a proc-based effect. So the chance reduction, how much it reduces, was 40%. Now it's 50. So that's a big buff to his passive, just less likely he gets bashed and such. It's actually near Pangolier too. It's not just at Pangolier, it's near. So it affects his allies as well. And Swashbuckle got a 1 second like lower cooldown at all levels. It's minor, but it's still going in the right direction to get Pangolier just a little bit better. Stifling Dagger's cooldown reduction talent went up. So PA can throw more daggers if she takes that talent. Gross. PL. Illusory armaments. That's whenever an illusion of PL is created, its outgoing damage cannot go below a fixed value for 3 seconds. So that number is now, it was 18 plus a certain percentage based on his levels. Now it's 17 plus that same percentage. It just decreases it by 1% at all levels. It'll just hit them at all levels. So their damage can go a certain lowness. Doppelganger is more expensive too, so nerfs to PL. Love it. Pudge's meat shield costs more as well, actually a lot more early. Huge nerf to his lane. Ringmaster lost 2 agility and gained agility gain, which is actually worse because it's gonna take forever to balance out. It's gonna take 20 levels for him to balance out, and then after that he has a little more. They did buff Whoopee Cushion. The Stink Cloud got bigger, the radius. That's nice. Rubik's cooldown and telekinesis went down by 1 at all levels. 1 second. We love that. Disseminate on Promulgate. If the target is an enemy, they lose a percentage of their health. Regaining half of it after the effect is lifted. So the health loss was decreased. It nerfed 1, 2, 3%. 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's taking less health away. So it's a nerf on this facet. Slaughter lost strength gain, 0.2. And he lost a talent thing. It's another hero, another off-lane hero, by the way. So far we saw Abaddon can be. That's technically a nerf, but Axe more than that. Hold on, there's somebody else. Legion nerf, also potentially an off-laner if it's 2. Pango did get buffed. Pudge nerf, small one though. Slaughter nerf. Slark, this is the hero I've been really trying out this patch, and they buffed the frick out of him. It's later in the video. The fuck out of him. So all of these Saltwater Shiv got everything it does, like as far as the numbers, not the duration, just every number though, as far as like what it actually does, all got buffed. So the restoration that he steals went up. It went down at level 1, right? It basically, okay. So some of you are gonna say, well, this isn't a buff, but its late game is better. It's basically better at level 3 and it's better at level 4. Because it used to be 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 2, that's less. 4, actually no, it's the same at level 2. So the first level is weak. But then every other level it's the same or better. And going up to 8 for restoration, huge. The regen steal went from 2, 3, 4, 5 to 2, 4, 6, 8. It's just better at level 2, 3, and 4 by a lot. And the speed was also increased at the exact same capacity. So now they're all 2, 4, 6, 8. Because some of them weren't the same before. They're all now 2, 4, 6, 8. And it's a big deal. He steals quite a lot now. That's a huge deal. The extra speed, the extra regen, the extra restoration, it's going to keep Slark alive. Spectre, strength gain was decreased by 0.1. That's a minor change. Also a health talent nerf. Also the illusion damage nerf. So a hit to Spectre. Terrorblade. Illusions are cheaper. Sunder has a lower cooldown early. But Demon Seal does not affect his illusions, his reflection illusions. So his reflection illusions is his Q, by the way. So reflection is this one. So when he creates illusion one of every hero, those ones do not get Demon Seal. Demon Seal, to remind you, is you take away some of your own HP and you get bonus attack speed, bonus movement speed, bonus health regen. That's what it does. So that no longer affects those illusions in particular, but does affect all the other ones. They buffed his talent for reflection stuff too. So a lot of buffs to Terrorblade, except that small one. Tide Hunter lost 1 base strength. So that's a nerf to Tide as well. Timbersaw lost 3 base strength, and he gained 0.1 strength gain, which is worse, obviously. And they nerfed his talent for Rolling Death, so he got nerfed. So that's another 2. Tide Hunter and Timbersaw, more offlaners. Tree and Protector, now if you kill one of his trees, they give a 50 gold bounty. That means it's actually worth it to go look for them, because it wasn't before. It was just annoying, and like you kind of had to sometimes you didn't. It's kind of frustrating. I've been going on for what, 20? I said like 15 and 20. I'm right at the end here. Ursa. Damage per attack for Fury Swipes went down by 1 at all levels. This doesn't seem like a big deal. But when Ursa can... Hey! Honey, nya? That's how I'd say it. Welcome. Sorry, I'm just going to finish my thought. So, if you think about Ursa, especially if it's hitting Roshan, by the way, every hit is getting stacks. You might have like 30 stacks on Roshan. So, that means that if you have 1 less damage per stack, that's 30 less every hit, right? Negative 30, negative 30, negative 30, the damage you would have done before. I don't think this is a bad thing. I think Ursa might need this, perhaps. It's minor, but it can matter. In a short amount of time, if you're killing a support, it's probably not going to make a difference. Viper, damage per second from Corrosive Skin rescaled to be higher early but less late. So that's a huge nerf for Corrosive. It's also technically a nerf for Nosedive because it gives you a Corrosive on everybody that you jump into. His talent for Predator damage, boosting health, was increased, so it does bigger damage. Pass. And then the Viper Strike DPS was decreased as well. So the Predator damage did go up, but a nerf to Corrosive, which is a nerf to his Ags, Nosedive, and a nerf to his Viper Strike. Overall, I would say nerfs to Viper. This change is very minor over here, so I'd say that's a nerf to Viper. So this patch is more about nerfs than it is buffs. What are the biggest takeaways? Biggest takeaways, I think, here are going to be Batrider might be playable again. Brewmaster might be playable, just not by me. Brood is going to start falling out. Clinks might be fair. Jakiro is not as much of a dominating support. A bunch of offlaners are just generally worse. Yeah, that's really just it. Just a bunch of offlaners. And Slark coming back, baby. That's about it. I don't want to keep this going too long. Later on, I'm probably going to stream DotA anyway. I'm not sure if that's the case. I have to see who's around. I've already asked. And it looks like I'll have enough. It looks like I have Sonic and Furry, maybe Falcon, maybe Thor. That won't be until a little closer to 7 my time. Right now it's 6:27 p.m. just for reference. It's about 30 minutes. It gives me enough time to get a couple things I'd like to get done. But I will be back for those of you on Twitch, those of you on YouTube. You'll just see another video pop up either way. Appreciate you guys for watching. I will see you all next time.